Welcome to this all-staff meeting. I'm sorry I can't be with you in person, but let us begin with prayer. Let us be mindful as we gather in the presence of one another, we gather in God's presence. Merciful God, open our eyes and ears to the reality of life around us. Open our hands and hearts in generous and compassionate response. Through our compassion for those we meet, may your mercy be known to the world. And let the people say, Amen.
All right. Well, hi, everyone. So I'm Frances Slackwitz, the Executive Director. And I'm happy to give this update because, so for 2023, you achieved a lot. That got us a lot of recognition nationally and locally. So Mercy Circle, as you know, we have different levels of care. We have our skilled care unit where we take care of people long-term, and we also have short-term rehab. So we rehab people a lot, get them better so they can go back home. And then, of course, assisted living and independent living. Well, in our skilled care unit, that is overseen and regulated by the federal government, the Centers of Medicare and Medicaid. And they have a system of ranking nursing facilities, and they ranked us as 5 stars. And we've been pretty much a 5-star facility since we opened almost 10 years ago. And this is a great achievement because it tells outsiders, because it's on the internet, if you look up Nursing Home Compare and you look up nursing homes for a person who wants to put their mom or dad in a nursing home, it gives them advice as to where to go by this government ranking the facilities to tell them which are really better facilities than others. And Mercy Circle's up there. 5 stars is the highest you can get. And that is based on our surveys, it's based on our staffing levels, and our clinical measures, and more importantly, what residents say about us. So this past year in 2023, again, we were ranked 5-star. And because we were ranked 5-star, we also got another award called U.S. World News and Report, and that's what I refer to over there. And there's a plaque in our lobby for that award too. So this is probably all before your time, but we used to have magazines back in the day, and they were very famous, like Time Magazine. And there was a magazine called U.S. World News Report, and they annually rank key institutions like universities, hospitals, and now they do nursing homes. And they ranked Mercy Circle as one of the top nursing homes in the country. So you work for a place that is 5-star, U.S. World News Report best top nursing home, as well as Senior Advisor ranks our assisted living as best in senior living. So I share this with you because we get these awards because of you and everything that you do every day for our residents and how you work with each other. So number one, thank you so much for what you do. And more importantly, be proud of where you work, because not every facility has these awards. And not only do we have these awards, we have them consecutively for many years. We also have, as you can tell from here, the Top Workplaces Awards. That award we earned because an employee nominated us for that, and then everybody completed a satisfaction survey, and those scores, you scoring, your experience here at Mercy Circle is what ranked us as a top workplace too. And this is a real important award because this tells other people to work here. We use this ad in our ads to recruit for dining servers or CNAs or nurses. We use that icon to say, hey, come work for Mercy Circle, because not only are we a 5-star and a top facility, but we're also a top workplace. And these awards is what gets us good staff members. It's what keeps us filled. And if we're filled, we all have a job, right? Okay, and our residents continue to get good care, and we continue our ministry started by Mother McCauley. So thank you for all that you do to win us these awards, because we really rocked in 23, and we got all of those awards. So thank you. The other thing I wanted to mention is, in addition to residents and family members always having the opportunity to share with us their experience, and hey, they really liked that meal, or that server is great, or this nurse is great, or they had a great rehab stay, we ask them for input on a regular basis. So a resident and their family member gets surveyed by an outside company every time somebody is admitted, or if they move from level to care, like say they went from IL to AL or AL to skilled, or if they were discharged successfully after a short-term rehab stay. So this third-party company calls them, the resident and the family member, and asks them questions about how did they like their stay? Was the staff responsive? Did the staff seem to care about you? What does the facility look like? Was it clean? Was it presentable? Do you like your meals? All these questions. And the residents and the family members answer these questions, and based on this survey, we get a score. Well, we're knocking that out of the park too. We did very, very well for these surveys, these resident and family member surveys. So much so that we exceeded our benchmark according to our management company, Trinity Health, and all their other facilities, and nationally. So meaning the company that does this, all of their records that they keep from hundreds of facilities all over the country, we're in the better half of those facilities with regards to results. So again, this tells us we're doing well, we're doing our jobs correctly, and we're grateful for that. So thank you again for that. It also did show some opportunities for improvement. It did say that there's some areas that we could do a little bit better at that. And some of that pertains to welcoming a new resident and addressing any concerns that the resident expresses. So in your job, if you have, as you're serving a resident, if a resident says something to you, maybe it doesn't have anything to do with you, maybe they're complaining about their phone's not working or their TV's not working, please be sure you can say to them, I'm sorry, I can't handle that, but let me share that message with someone who can. And then you could relay it to the front desk or maintenance, and they could take care of those issues. Obviously, some issues you could take care of themselves. If they're eating and you happen to notice that they're not eating a lot, what do you think you would do if you noticed somebody wasn't eating their whole plate?
Just if they like it or want something else.
Exactly. Do you like it? Would you like something else? Exactly. And that's what we want to do, kind of be responsive and see what they like. And sometimes they're a bit shy, maybe they won't, they might not say anything unless you approach them. Okay? So, but other than that, we're doing very, very well in that, in our resident satisfaction. Our residents are very happy. So, and when we often get letters from family members and residents about their stay here, we often share them in the back by the time clock or where the Shining Star Awards are. We post it up there. So please make a point of reading that because they could be mentioning you in it or your department. Okay? The other thing is talking about teamwork. And I'm just going to share this because we're recording this for everybody. So on our skilled care unit and in assisted living, we have devices for the staff to talk to each other. The AL unit uses phones, and the skilled care unit uses a two-way radio that they plug into their ear. And these devices are given to the staff so that they can foster communication, so that staff work together. If a resident is, if a CNA is busy bathing a resident and then wouldn't be available to leave to go answer a call late, the CNA should really use these communication devices to talk to one another so that the residents are never left uncovered. And also, in the AL unit, we use phones to communicate with each other. So if you're busy with a resident, caring for that resident, maybe giving them a shower that we know takes a little while, you should call your peers, your colleagues, and say, hey, I'm going to be busy with Sister So-and-so right now, I'm giving a bath. Could you cover my unit? Could you cover my assignment? And that's what we ask the CNAs to do so that the resident is always being taken care of, even when they're busy tied up taking a shower. So those devices are used for the staff so that they can communicate better and working together as a team. Because the most important thing we want to do is to never have a resident attempt to do something on their own because they're waiting for staff and staff haven't come yet. And oftentimes we have somebody falling because of that, right? So they attempt to do something on their own, they're getting out of their wheelchair without assistance, they're falling. So we really want the staff to work together as a team to cover all the residents and to work together when they're busy doing such things as bathing or they're tied up with someone that someone else is covering their unit. And then the other thing I'm talking about is cleanliness. You know, our building's starting to get a little older. It's 10 years. It's starting to show its age. And so we're really asking people, as John in the maintenance department, they're going to start painting and refreshing the area. But in the meantime, our areas can be neat and clean too, right? So if you're walking down something and you see a piece of paper or something on the floor, please pick it up. If you're in the dining room and you see a spill, please wipe it up. Number one, we don't want anybody to fall, but we also don't want stains on the floor. Upstairs on the unit, if any of you work on a skilled care unit, it's a very busy area and it can get pretty dirty. So do what you can to keep your area nice and clean because that says a lot about us, right? I mean, you wouldn't want to go to school in an area that's not neat. And, you know, if you had children, you wouldn't want your kids to go to a daycare center that wasn't neat. So we really want to keep the area as clean as possible so that our building looks good and presentable at all times. Especially now that COVID restrictions are over, we're having a lot more visitors now. We always want the building looking in top shape, right? And that includes ourselves as well. We want to be in proper uniform with our name tag and dressed appropriately. Then just talking, most importantly, the residents rely on you. And if you are absent, obviously, as you know, it causes a bit of a hardship and our residents might not get the top-notch service that they deserve. So do come to work when you can. If you're not going to be able to, please do call as soon as you can so that your boss, your director can make arrangements. And for those of you who are picking up extra shifts or staying over, thank you so much for that. We certainly appreciate you all doing that. I can move on to the next. inspector our third floor, and this happened in January. And there was about 6 members of the team came. And, it's a bit of a stressful time because they're looking at everything we do, and they're judging it, they're correcting it, and they have the power to write serious violations. Well, we did really, really well, and a lot of that had to do with this lady right here, because the surveyors watched her as she administered all the medications to the residents, and she had 0 errors. So that is great, because that doesn't always happen. It was pretty nerve-wracking, wasn't it, LaVon? Yeah, it was real nerve-wracking. Exactly, because somebody's like watching you. Imagine having an inspector watch you do everything. Well, LaVon blew them away in colors, and she scored no errors whatsoever. And we also, at that time, if you remember, we had an outbreak of COVID up on the unit. We had 12 cases, our highest ever. We never had that many at one time. And of course, it was the week when the surveyors came in. Well, there too, the team did a wonderful job, because while they were getting watched by the surveyors, we had no tags for infection control or any other issues related to COVID. And that's very serious because, surveyors intentionally watch that. So we did really well there too. So much so that we did have a couple of areas to correct. We had 4 areas to correct. So that's called a tag, and we had 4 tags, but most facilities in Illinois, on average, get 12. So we did really well on that. So kudos to the team again up on Skill 4 for doing such a great job in an annual survey. So COVID is still with us. As you know, we had an outbreak on skilled unit in January, an outbreak on AL unit in February. We thought we were all done, but guess what? 1 more resident popped positive last week. And so what does that mean? Well, that means we have to keep testing. We have to keep testing the residents and the staff. So those of you who work the skilled care unit have to continue to test till the end of the month. We usually put signs up by the time clock, or you'll get a text message from HR that tells you to test. And you do it up at the front desk when you come in on your shift. We're asking you to please note that testing is going to continue until we tell you otherwise. So when you know that we're testing, because you get those text messages, you see a sign by the time clock, please continue to go to the front desk and test twice a week. If you work Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday, test either Monday or Tuesday. If you work Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, test Thursday or Friday. If you're only here 1 day a week or 2 days a week, just test on the days that you're coming in. But we do need you to test at least 2 times a week, okay? Until it's all done. Once testing's over, we'll let you know. But the thing is, COVID is still around, even though it's been 4 years. And even though CDC made some changes with regards to how long you have to isolate with COVID, it doesn't affect long-term care facilities. Because our population is so vulnerable, the government officials say that we still have to follow strict guidelines with COVID. So if a resident gets COVID, they have to isolate for 10 days. If a staff member gets COVID, you have to be excluded from work anywhere between 8 and 10 days, depending on how you feel. It's a hardship for us, but it's still a requirement, so we still have to follow that. So to that end, we'll still be keeping you updated with regards to testing. And if you're not feeling well, if you're symptomatic, please be aware of that, note that. And even if we're not testing, you could ask to be tested, because we wouldn't want you here at work if you do have COVID, because it's just gonna spread, right? So if you ever are symptomatic, feel free to just ask the front desk to get tested so that we can rule out to make sure that you're safe and you're not contagious. And we want you well too. Okay, the last thing is a federal requirement that we have to fit all of you for a special N95 mask and PPE. So we'll do this. This is our annual training we do each year. It'll be here in the room. So there'll be signs up. Please sign up at a time that's convenient for you, but this is a federal mandate. So we'll teach you all again, go over all about how to wear an N95 and how to don and doff PPE, right? Personal protective equipment. So we'll be doing that in April. Any questions? Okay, thank you for all you do. And again, in the lobby are all of our awards. If you ever want to take a picture, share it with your friends and family, let them know that you work for a great place and you make this place great. All right, thank you so much. Have a great day.
One week, can I do one more?
Oh yeah, it's not over yet.
Sorry.
Have a seat, make yourself comfortable.
Good afternoon. So a couple of updates for you. The first is internet updates. Throughout all of Mercy Circle, we have updated all of our network infrastructure and increased our bandwidth throughout the building. This is noticeable at each workstation. So if you sit at a desk, which as I look, only one of us do, you'll notice our speeds are significantly faster if you're actually plugged into the wall. If you're on a laptop, a tablet, or something like that, you'll see it's improved greatly, but not as greatly. Anytime you're plugged into the wall, it'll be a little bit faster. With that, the residents now have streaming abilities on their TVs as well through DirecTV. That includes music, there's a Hallmark app, Showtime, On Demand, and then there's also an app there for Netflix, but the Netflix, they have to have their own account for it. The other ones are free. Drills, as most of you know, we do fire drills regularly. We do fire drill once a month on the skilled floor, every 60 days on the AL floor, and then we sprinkle in some other drills, whether it be hot weather, cold weather, equipment failure, or severe weather, tornado drills. We sprinkle those in throughout the year. Participation in drills is absolutely mandatory if you are on shift or even in the building. If you're on break, the break takes a break. We pause the break, you join the drill, and you can return to your break. If there is any issue with a coworker, a manager, or somebody in regards to you returning to your break or extending your break because of a drill we're running, please let me know. I will speak to that individual and ensure that you are given your fair break time.
And remember that if it's your 30-minute uninterrupted meal period that you're called away from because you're on the floor eating up there, you restart the break, right? You don't just pick up for the last 15 minutes, you have to restart the break. So that's like just saying that first 15 minutes was just a nice relaxation period, but your break restarts. So remember that. But the key is that if you were in the building during a drill, that just like you would if a real fire broke out, you wouldn't just sit there and keep eating, right? You would jump and you'd be alert.
So with that said, a skilled drill runs 3 to 4 minutes. We do them regularly. Most everybody knows what to do, and we try to gauge them in times and areas where it's less intrusive on the residents. So I try not to do it when somebody's getting a bath or a meal or something like that. An AL evacuation drill typically runs 12 minutes. And so, I mean, it's 12 minutes, and if we all jump in, contribute, show that we know the what to do, then these drills go smoothly. If we don't, if somebody intentionally removes themselves from the drill or forgets, then now we're in servicing and we're re-drilling again. So it turns a 12-minute drill into a paperwork process and potentially a full hour's worth of work. So really, most people know what to do. Please do it. If you don't know what to do, that's what we're there for. Please ask. Ask your supervisor, ask me. If you are somebody like Avis, for example, who's a part-time in and out in different departments, not necessarily line staff, we ask that during that drill you either ask somebody whatever floor you're on, ask whoever's the manager on that floor, or report to the front desk for guidance. So,
John?
yes,
Just quick, the internet updates?
yes.
Did it affect this side of the building?
Excellent question. It did not, but I'm working with Sisters of Mercy to do that. They have a long list of projects they're doing throughout the whole nation. We're not on that list yet, but I'm pushing to get us bumped up on that list.
So we would be informed so that we would know that we rely on working on in this side of the building, we would know in advance and all of that, like we did with this other update.
When that takes place?
Yes.
Oh, of course, yes. We'll because when we do this one, we'll also do across the street there.
Okay, great. The other thing is, I have wondered occasionally when I have 30-some people in Agatha O'Brien, if there would be a fire alarm. We've never drilled out of Agatha O'Brien or in the chapel.
Excellent question.
What?
Yeah, that is not
No,
Mercy
it's
Circle.
Mercy Circle. So you're not required.
We are not, correct.
It is.
And who is? That would be Mercy Meeting. We can speak to Janet. And
I would alert Janet just because, there are things that go on in this side of the building all the time. And I have wondered a few times.
Sure.
What do we need to do?
Always look for exit signs. I'll leave it at that for now. But you're right. We can have a larger conversation in regards to that.
Okay.
Resident elopement. So we do elopement drills. This weekend, we actually had an interesting occasion where a resident, we went through an elopement scare, let's call it. The resident, we noticed a resident was missing and properly notified the correct people. It says on here to notify your nurse first. I'm gonna correct it and say, no, we want you to notify the front desk first, okay? The front desk has a preset loaded emergency contact information for these types of things, whether it be a fire, a missing resident, whatever it might be, right? That includes all the aid phones, all Mercy Circle phones, so all the aides, all the nurses, the people in the building, including the directors and managers. So for example, this weekend, when that message went out, all the managers and directors just started driving instantly, right? So we all converged on the spot. The drill was still in place. We all jumped in, get to the front desk. Who's covering what? Great. I personally ran to this side of the building because I knew that resident likes to go to the chapel. Ran through the chapel, started running through rooms. I'll give this example of, let's use this room. If I walk through this door to search this room, and Colleen, okay, all right. It goes through, is leaving that way, turns and goes, this room's good. I say, thanks, but I'm gonna search it again. A second set of eyes, a third set of eyes. I might look at something different than Colleen did. This has occurred 3 times in my short time here, okay? Fortunately, all 3 times, residents were found to be alert and upright. We need to be prepared for otherwise. So when we walk into a room, we're gonna walk in, we're gonna search behind anything, something like this, search behind it. Search underneath tables, in the closets, underneath, behind. So then I went to the rooms and I searched under beds, behind beds, in the showers, the little space between the sink cabinet and the I'm thinking worst case scenario, that's just how I function, right? So, and going searching. But I'll tell you where I made a mistake. Every time I came to a locked door, including my own office, I just checked it and kept walking, checked it and kept walking, thinking if I can't get in there, the resident can't get in there. That was 100% wrong. Turns out the resident was behind a locked door. That resident went into a room thinking it was a restroom, got in there and got confused. And then just essentially froze, right? Kind of what we thought was gonna happen, but we didn't know where it was happening, right? So any locked door needs to be searched. I'll tell you, it was myself and 2 other managers, and I went to a locked door. It was a resident room that was unskilled. And I went to that door, I turned, Ronald and Megan were right there, and I said, why is this door locked? And they said, she's unskilled. I said, oh, okay. And we walked away. But in hindsight, that was the wrong thing to do. So we live and learn off these things, right? So with that being said, communication's key. Make sure everybody that's in the building knows and management outside of the building is aware. And then work as a team, which we always do. In each of these cases, it's impressive to see everybody come out in a force like that. Especially on a Sunday morning when people are driving 40 minutes to get here and, making record time.
It was awesome.
Yeah. Right, they're called a crash bar. You push it to go through. Inside Baggett Street, we have 3 secured and armed doors. These doors are to keep our residents secure. Here is the crash bar. You see the arrow pointing to it. That is a crash bar. I see them on all the doors, even in this room. You push it to unlock the door. In this situation, if you lean on that door for 15 seconds or that crash bar, the door will unlock. That's fire code. In the event of emergency, it's filled with smoke and you're disoriented, you just lean on that door, it will open. A small alarm, a local alarm will go off. But when these doors are breached, it sends a text or a text out to all the pagers as well in the front desk so that we're aware. Next to the crash, on the crash bar, is a key, cylinder, and a LED light. If you go down there now, that LED light has got a slow blink to it, okay? If you ever see one of these doors not blinking, that means it's unarmed. That means a resident can get out and we wouldn't even be notified, okay? What we want to do, or let me give a scenario. We had a scenario this Saturday where an aide was backing up, helping a resident, and backed into a door. So the alarm went off. No big deal. There are keys available with reception, security, and the charge nurse. It's very simple. First, if you find a door that the alarm is going off on, we need to verify that all the residents are safe. So we need to do a head count of all the residents within Baggett Street. And then with that key, it's very simple. Counterclockwise full rotation, there'll be a popping noise that will disarm the door, re-secure the door, and then back clockwise full rotation will rearm the door, it'll make a popping sound again. A red light will come on for 10 to 15 seconds, and then it'll go to a blinking. And then come back a half a turn and you can get your key back. And we're back in business for that. But the key, like I said, is at the front desk with reception, security, or any of the maintenance staff has that key, including both charge nurses have that key. Any questions on that? No? Well, thank you guys.
I don't know that you can actually describe how amazing the Daisy Awards have been for our staff.
Our Daisy celebration for Spring Summer 2018.
It's truly an award that comes from the heart.
My name's Tina Barnes-Caraher. I'm one of the co-founders of the Daisy Foundation. Patrick was my husband, the inspiration for the Daisy Foundation.
We're here to celebrate the nurses who do so much for so many people and expect so little in return.
All of us underestimate the role of nurses until we're in their loving hands.
We wanted a way to create something that would capture his very special spirit.
DAISY is an acronym for diseases attacking the immune system, which is what Pat had.
We wanted to say thank you to nurses by celebrating the extraordinary things they do every day.
That's why the DAISY Foundation was started.
I became a nurse because my younger brother was 2 years old when he was diagnosed with leukemia. We had seen firsthand the kind of impact the nurse can have.
My name is Jose Manuel Arellano, and I'm a Daisy Award winner.
My name is Yesenia Valle, and I am a Daisy recipient.
My name is Wally Moran, and I nominated Vanessa Wright for a Daisy Award. We met Vanessa when our family was in crisis. My wife was pregnant with our second child with metastatic breast cancer. I got a call from her saying how she had met this incredible nurse. When we had to induce labor, this absolute stranger immediately just rolled up their sleeves and said, "All right, we're in this fight. Let's do this." Before my wife had passed, Vanessa was always there. She'd come after her shift and spend 4 or 5 hours with Amy, and they would just have girl talk or whatever. And it was always such a calming and joyful presence for my wife, and it was just incredible.
My name is Grace Florentine. I actually received my Daisy Award 2 years into my career, which was just so exciting.
I guess I never thought that it would be something that I would actually get.
To receive the Daisy Award? Oh man, well one, it was surprising.
Ever since grade school, I've always wanted to be a nurse. It was an honor to receive the Daisy Award. When I first got the award, the first thing I said was, people do pay attention.
I wanted to try and say thank you. I went down and asked, what can I do to make sure she's recognized for what she's done? That's when they said, well, there's this Daisy Award. You can nominate her for that. And I said, absolutely. I said, I'm gonna need more than this little pamphlet to write on.
I was really kind of just awestruck when I found out I was nominated for one.
My heart dropped because you never expect this, ever.
It's really honoring.
It's the things you kind of forget you do, the little things that really made these nurses special.
Nurses, they're a very self-effacing profession that says I didn't do anything special.
What I was recognized for, it was just something that I wanted to do.
Nurses are always identified as the unsung heroes of healthcare.
I had a patient in my unit who nominated me for a Daisy Award. I couldn't believe it.
Amy and I used to joke how Vanessa hid her angel wings in those scrubs. She was really our guardian angel.
We want to emphasize compassion, part of nursing.
I didn't think that I would ever win a Daisy Award.
My mom booked flights and they came down just for the day, just for the ceremony.
And over the years, the nurses have made Daisy what it is today.
When they realize the impact they've had, well, they hold themselves in a different way.
The humility that they present is true. They cared for you as a person, they cared for your soul and your emotions.
I don't do what I do to get an award, I just do it because that's what I'm here to do.
And this type of care and compassion just comes from the fiber of their soul.
It signifies what nurses do day in and day out.
It's just who they are.
It's a higher level of nursing, and I'm glad I'm able to give that kind of level of care to my patients.
It was nice to just be able to see her recognized among her peers.
What it means to me is just an opportunity. People see this and they want to be better nurses.
Daisy nurse means something because they've made it mean something.
We know Patrick would have loved this.
It's just wonderful for them to be able to be thanked and to be recognized.
Check-in do's and don'ts. Share openly. The point of the weekly check-in is for your team leader to help you at your best. Let your leader know when you were amazing, but also share when you didn't have as good of a week as you wanted. This can open up a good conversation about what got in the way and how to overcome it. When you share what you loved and loathed, be as precise as possible. Recognize your own patterns of answering. Are you on a roll? Have you hit a bad spot? Don't skip weekly check-ins. It's important to complete them regularly in order to create a habit of keeping your strengths visible and central in your work. Don't unthinkingly put in the same answers each week. Give it some thought and answer candidly. Don't feel like you have to answer every field every week. And lastly, don't assume that the effect your work has on you is the same week after week, even if you do the same tasks all the time. Everyone has good weeks and bad weeks. The check-in tracks exactly what goes into making a day good or bad.
As you continue using check-ins, you'll keep receiving tips and questions to help you reflect and take action on aligning your strengths to your work. So each week, Coaching Intelligence will focus on one relevant part of your check-in, using your top 2 standout roles to provide guidance and insights about how to bring the best of yourself to work. It's a powerful combination. Thanks to the standout assessment, this fancy tech here knows a little bit about how you show up. And thanks to your weekly check-ins, it knows a little bit about what's going on in your work. With that, it's able to offer you insights from world-class certified strengths-based coaches. All so you're happier and more productive, week by week. But not weak, because weak is the opposite of strong. And a weak week is weak, and a strong week is, not weak, because weeks are better when they're strong. Nailed it.
Comments from our survey. We all work together and I love what everyone does here. Super grateful to be here. The skill floor runs really well. Residents make me smile. There's so many events here for us. I have the best coworkers and I've worked at a lot of places. Mercy Circle has the best staff. I'd like to see better communication and more things put in writing so that everyone gets the same message, especially when a procedure changes. More teamwork, both inter and intra-departmentally. More training on equipment, and I'd like the instructions put in writing. Hire additional staff. More pay and more incentives.